when you're out there without care. Yeah, I was out of touch, but it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Possibly.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. Dark times right now. They call it the fog of war because it's hard to see your hand in front of your face. It's hard to see what's going on when chaos reigns, and chaos will reign if the Mideast goes FUBAR. It will have a major effect on your life and mine. That's why this kind of stuff is important, and that's why what happened moments ago in Israel with the bombing of a hospital is incredibly important. Now, here, this is footage of a Baptist hospital, the Al-Alahi Baptist Hospital. This was footage of children playing here in the hospital. And ladies and gentlemen, that hospital has been, I'm sad to report to you, bombed. A horrible explosion took place at the hospital. We have what is allegedly video of that explosion here. As you can well imagine, an explosion of that size and magnitude meant a lot of people died. Reports are saying around 500. This is, of course, the bombing of a Christian hospital in Gaza. It's called the Baptist Hospital, but this was a hospital that was working with Muslims in Gaza and housed an enormous number of families, an enormous number of sick, an enormous number of people that were interned or had to leave. And so it's a horrible, catastrophic humanitarian nightmare. Who the hell is responsible for this? Who is responsible? Well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, what we have seen from both sides is Israel's going to blame Gaza, Gaza's going to blame Israel, okay? So it's up to us to look at the fact patterns and to try and develop a worldview as to who's responsible for this hideous crime against humanity, war crimes. I cannot even begin to show you. Of course, our channel would get immediately demonetized and ripped down if I showed you some of the awful, like, blood-curdling footage out of this human tragedy. I don't care what side of this thing you're on. Bombing a hospital is effing evil. The loss of a child's life, whether they're Muslim or whether they are Jewish or whether they are Buddhist or whether they are something in between, is sick. And so that's where I come from on this. I hate the escalation that's happening right now. I'm getting a bad feeling that America is going to be brought into all of this. Of course, the meeting with Joe Biden that was going to happen tomorrow has been canceled. Mahmoud Abbas, who's in charge of the Palestinian state there, is canceled his meeting. Now they're storming embassies around the world because of this. Israel-Hamas war live, hundreds killed in Gaza hospital strike, Hamas-run health ministry says. So again, consider the source, and we're going to show you both sides here. Okay? We're going to show you both sides. So here's the timeline. An hour ago, there was this strike, and people were killed. They're calling it an airstrike, and we're going to show you both sides, all right? You can decide. Hamas has said that this is Israel, and that Israel has bombed this hospital, okay? They said that Israel sent a bomb to the hospital from the air. Now, the bombs are very sophisticated. They're American bombs, actually, and they're laser guided, the vast majority of them, and they strike where they are sent. And so was Israel targeting a hospital? I mean, that is the contention here. Or there was some type of horrible malfunction and Israel hit a hospital. That's what Hamas is saying. Now, Israel, the verified Israel spokespeople, are saying, according to the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, from the analysis of the operational system of the IDF, an enemy rocket barrage was carried out toward Israel, which passed through the vicinity of the hospital when it was hit. According to the intelligence information, several sources we have, the Islamic Jihad terrorist organization, which is responsible, failed shooting that hit the hospital. Now, here's what we know, based not on, based, and here they provide some footage that is being taken allegedly maybe from drone aircraft here. Here's what we know. We know that Hamas fires a shitload of rockets towards Israel, okay? And a lot of these rockets are dumb rockets. And that according to a ton of reputable experts, like 40% of those rockets land in Gaza territory and end up hurting their own people, end up killing their own people. So tough, bad news. Okay, so that's like that could happen. That could have been something that happened for sure. And then Israel's been bombing Gaza a lot, and that could have been something that happened. So let's continue. Israeli sources say Hamas tried to launch a long-range rocket near the hospital. They exploded near the launch site instead. Hamas sources, Gaza Ministry is blaming Israel. The scene is horrific. Palestinians, this is Trey Yinks, who's the best reporter on the ground right now in Israel. Palestinians say the Israelis hit a hospital in Gaza. Hundreds were sheltering. Source says there's a mass casualty situation. At least 500 people, they're saying, is dead. Concerning the Baptist hospital strike, some observers are claiming that it was a failed Hamas missile launch. The IDF had no aerial activity at the time. I mean, listen, guys, unlike Hamas, which is launching dumb rockets, a lot of them made from water pipes that have been ripped up from the ground to provide water to the people, Israel knows where their bombs are, right? These bombs are color-coded and are laser-guided and are GPS-guided and have tracking devices on them. Like, they know where their bombs are. I'm not saying Israel didn't do it, because I don't actually know. I'm saying that if Israel did it, there is a way to find out. Okay? But if Israel also didn't do it, there's also that way to find out. Because you'll know if there's Israeli munitions in the air. Okay? Now, here's another reporter on the ground, Julio Rosas. Julio is a friend of the show. Really trust his reporting. He's there in Sderot, Israel right now, which is where a lot of these munitions are firing. And here he is with a video of rockets being fired at the exact same time from Gaza into Israel. So that's what the little beams of light are there in the sky. So Julio is saying at the same time that this hospital was exploding, that Hamas was firing missiles into Israel. He had to go into a bomb shelter, effectively, right? So here's Julio showing that, you know, that okay, so like based on verified reporting on the ground, Hamas was firing bombs in the vicinity of this hospital right now. Preliminary attack investigation by the army, the explosion in the hospital in Gaza was not an attack by our forces. Says this an Israeli reporter for Israeli News. Now, the Israeli Defense Force released a video of this failed rocket launch, but the video was shared in 2022 too. This is what we call the fog of war. So apparently an old video was resurfaced in order to show that this was Hamas, but it wasn't. This is the IDF, official IDF online. From the analysis of IDF's operational systems, the enemy rocket barrage was carried out towards Israel past the vicinity of the hospital when it was hit. So what do you like? Listen, again, what do you like? If Israel is guilty of this, one, it's going to massively turn the tide of war against Israel because this is a legit war crime. And two, you know, you could actually find it's verifiable, right? Like Israel knows where the bombs are. Israel's not dropping dumb munitions throughout the region. Israel is dropping the most sophisticated weapons on earth, like into these buildings and dropping these buildings very strategically, dropping specific buildings. You could argue about all of it, whether it's right or whether it's wrong. What I'm saying is that Israel is able to be Israel's accountable for their munitions. They're not firing dumb bombs. They're firing sophisticated weaponry that you can track, and you'll know whether they're going to hit or not and where they are. Israeli journalist posted that Israel Air Force struck the hospital. He then deleted his post. So what's that about? Again, the footage is absolutely just horrible. Just horrible. We're also getting video claiming that the rocket hit the hospital, was a Hamas rocket, that misfired. Okay. So here's Mario's analysis of this. I like Mario. But again, this is just take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying this is conclusive. The explosion was very large for a Hamas rocket. There was no secondary explosion, which meant this wasn't a weapon site. We need forensic material analysis. That is unlikely to be gathered. That would be very important. The blast yield is similar to IDF munitions, which is unlikely to be Hamas. Similar to a JDAM 1,000-pound munition by yield, I mean, again, to blow up a hospital this size and to hurt this many people or kill this many people, hundreds of people killed, you would need a big bomb. There are no secondary explosions, so no weapons store, right? Saying that these 1,000-pound bombs are the size of a car, a sedan, right? It's dropping a huge bomb. Final thoughts, there were no secondary explosions. Hamas might have been hiding in the hospital, but it wasn't a weapons or rocket store. So these are images of the bomb. Obviously, a big bomb. But as you can see here, I mean, come on, guys. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this missile. These are the most sophisticated weapons on the planet. They are able to be tracked. You know where these are. You know where these go. These could really hurt people. So you want to make sure that you have them tracked. And so if this was an Israeli bomb, then, dude, you're not going to be able to hide that. Someone's lying. One of the sides are lying, okay? You're not going to be able to hide that. Also, if it wasn't an Israeli bomb, you're not going to be able to connect Israel to this. They're going to be like, oh, here's all the bombs. Here's 1 through 101, 100001, and all these bombs are accounted for. So who the hell did it? 1 minute before the Baptist hospital attack in Gaza, this according to Israel, Hamas announced on its own Telegram channel that they were launching the strongest rockets at the northern Israeli city of Haifa. No interceptions or impacts were detected near Haifa. They're saying here, according to their Telegram channel, that they were going to launch big bombs. 1 minute before the rocket blew up in Gaza, Hamas announced on Telegram that they were launching their most robust weapon arsenal. No rocket launched. Okay. So that's what they're saying. So, again, take it with a grain of salt, but various people, Ariel is on, clearly, very much on Israel's side here. The Associated Press is very much on the side of Hamas. Gaza Health Ministry says 500 people were killed. An explosion in a hospital was caused by an Israeli airstrike, right? So nobody, and also nobody knows if Hamas is responsible yet. Here's what's happening. Reports indicating Hamas attempted to fire a rocket, didn't detonate property, landed in the hospital, killing 40%. 40% of the rockets fired land inside of Gaza. Gaza Health Ministry, controlled by Hamas, now issued a report saying it was Israel's fault. The AP, who has been a lackey of Hamas and had an entire building in Hamas, that's actually true. The AP had an entire bureau inside of Gaza, reports Hamas's statements uncritically. Rinse and repeat. So you're going to see fake news. Fake news. Here's what's not fake news, okay? Here's what's not fake news. One, Israel is telling their citizens, you got to leave like Arab countries. Israel is warning their citizens, you got to leave Turkey. The continuing threat amid the escalation of Iranian intentions to harm Israelis in Turkey with an emphasis on Istanbul. If you are in Istanbul, you need to return to Israel as soon as possible. Now, there are the embassies, Israeli embassies, being stormed. Like the Israeli embassy in Jordan is on fire following Israel's bombing. So now the Israeli embassy is being stormed. We have like a Benghazi situation on our hands, right? Where local people storm embassies and horrible things happen. So now we have like a Benghazi situation going on. Attempted breach at the Israeli embassy in Amman, Jordan by demonstrators. So this is happening. Things are escalating. Things are escalating very, very badly here. I don't pretend to be a munitions expert, nor do I nor do I ever lie to you, right, and say that I am one. But I will say this is a big explosion, right? Listen to this. That is a big explosion. Am I again, here we go. Am I a weapons expert? No. I'm saying that is a big old bomb. You can hear that thing. You can hear that sucker landing fast. And that is a big old bomb. I've seen where some of these Hamas rockets strike. This would be a huge bomb for Hamas to make. I mean, I find that to be a compelling argument because I've seen these rockets strike. I've been to Israel and I've seen what the Hamas rockets do, and they're like they just don't carry that big of a payload, right? Because they're, it's very. Hamas is working with caveman technology. Right? Again, they're digging up water pipes in order to make bombs. So we have done our best to present both sides here. They are storming embassies. Now they're canceling meetings. Israel is saying everyone needs, our citizens need to flee Arab countries. And the spokespeople for the IDF are on Fox News saying, wasn't us.
Number one, Israel does not target places like hospitals. They're not a target for us, and we wouldn't have deliberately hit a hospital. Number two, we know that at the time of the...
Did you hear that? He said it's deliberately. I'm not saying I don't know who's guilty, but I cue in on language like that. If he says deliberately, that means he's sort of like maybe leaving open the door that this could have been a potential munition that was fired incorrectly at the hospital.
Of this tragedy, that Hamas was firing a barrage of rockets at Tel Aviv and the center of the country. I myself went to the bomb shelter here because we were under attack. Now, in the past, there has been a pattern of behavior that we've seen that up to a third of rockets fired from Gaza fall inside the Gaza Strip because they malfunction. Now, it is possible. Once again, we don't know the facts, and that's why people should be very careful here, but it is possible that this was one of those rockets that malfunctioned. We were under attack.
That's totally possible. That's totally possible. And and it's almost probable because apparently 40% of these rockets do malfunction. The reporters on the ground are saying, we don't know what the hell's going on. We don't know what the hell is going on, but things are popping off now.
Well, I'm hearing both sides, kind of like you were just talking about. The IDF says simply the strike just happened, so they're going to investigate it. But you're hearing through the Palestinian Health Ministry, this is a mass civilian casualty event. And when I say mass civilian casualties, they're talking about casualties in the hundreds. This hospital is in Gaza City itself. And according to reports anyway, it's one of the places that civilians were seeking shelter, not just the wounded. There were people there who were already wounded, and this is one of those hospitals that they said they weren't going to evacuate simply because people were in too bad of shape and they couldn't get them out of there. Now we have word of this strike. You have from the Israeli side people making the claim that the explosion was caused by an errant Palestinian missile. We just don't have any confirmation of that at this point. There's a lot of internet traffic, but nothing that really bears any credibility so far, John.
So this is Fox News is on the ground, sort of like war reporter, and he's saying, yep, this is terrible, and nobody knows who's at fault just yet. Expect this to pop off. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. I can read these things. This is going to be the thing that, pops off. This bombing of the hospital is going to push people over the edge on both sides, right? Because it's just who's ever responsible is plainly evil. Will we ever get a answer as to who's responsible? We've done our best to present to you the information that we know right now. Well, here's the other thing we'd like to ask you to do. We are believers on this show. We want you to pray because it's evil to kill children, period. This is wrong. This is sick. It's evil. And it also has the horrible ramifications of potentially affecting all of us, even though we all live 5,000 miles away. We're positioning American, they're going to put boots on the ground now in Israel. This has the potential to really whip up into a terrible conflict that would involve Americans quickly. And I don't want that. So evil, banality of evil is involving my children, my family, and my country, and my fellow countrymen. So pray for peace, these guys, because shit's going sideways. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.